One.
The same day that my father committed suicide, I had a random cat walk into my house and start eating out of the cat food bowl. Generally, cats will fight anyone that goes for the food. I've had 3 cats at the time. And they generally disappear around people. There was 15-ish extra people in my house consoling, helping, etc. This cat walked in, started eating in the middle of the kitchen at dinner time, and hasn't left 7 years later. I don't know why or how this cat came into our lives, and maybe I never will.
Two.
This past autumn, I had a dream that was mostly a blur, but there was a scene of me holding a cute little gray cat with big green eyes, and she was looking up at my face, studying me as I was studying her. The very next day, and this is not a joke, my boyfriend and I were coming around the corner before our house, and there were in the middle of the street was the little gray kitten and her mom, brothers and sisters. The gray cat just stood her ground as I slowed down the car, and she just looked at me. Needless to say, we ended up taking her and one of her brothers in. They're our cats now, and I love them so much. When I hold her in my lap, she'll do the thing in the dream that the cat did. Just look up at me and check out my face. Look into my eyes like she's thinking about what I might be thinking about.
Three.
When I was a kid, I had a small little brown dog that we called Tara. For years, me and my brothers and sisters would swear we would see the dog running around the house and hiding behind the sofa. But when we went to look for her, she was never there. My mom tells me she lost count of the amount of times she'd come into the living room only to find 2 or 3 of her children pulling apart the place, looking for the dog that we all swore we just saw, only to take us outside to prove that the dog was locked up in the shed. It was so weird.
Four.
I was out with my friend at his sister's house. His sister had a couple of kids, with her eldest being about 4 at the time. Well, you know the way kids of that age babble nonsense half the time? Amongst all of this 4-year-old stream of consciousness babble, she says to me, "Your cat has got blood on your trousers." I checked my jeans, a bit dirty and oil-stained for sure, but there was no blood. I tell her this, but she insists that my cat has got blood on my trousers. It was a bit weird, and she was insistent, I thought, but then she goes off to show me her new dolls and the new dollhouse, and she forgot all about it. Until I got home later that day. I go up to my room, and the cat had brought me a present. A dead, bloody pigeon, which had been thoughtfully left bleeding on top of a pair of jeans, on top of my washing pile.
Five.
My brother and I were sleeping outdoors one night when we saw a figure up between the top branches of a tree. It was like a ruined, disfigured, bad-clothed, doll-like alien. It stared at us for some time. Suddenly, it started to shake its head rapidly, sideways. It morphed into an alien. I have goosebumps all over just retelling this. It stopped moving its head and continued to stare at us. After a few moments, our dog, nowhere to be seen, began barking. The figure lifted its head, and while doing so, it morphed again into a dog similar to our own. Then it vanished. My brother and I ran inside the house. In the morning after, I found a dead cat, intact, right where we had been sleeping. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the show. If you have a story to share, send us an email, like us on Facebook, share, like, and subscribe.